Like I mentioned before, interfaces are used a lot with classes, and I want to give you guys an example. So I'm going to go and scroll down, and down here, I'm going to create another interface. So I'm going to say interface, and this time let's call this HTTP connection. Hopefully this is not already taken in the namespace. So HTTP connection, that's going to be an interface, and this interface is going to have one method, which is going to be the connect, or let's do create connection since I already have connect. And it's gonna take, let's say, like a URL that's gonna be a string, and it's gonna return a void. Okay, we can make it return something else. And also, we haven't talked about void. Those are like some advanced, not advanced, but different types that we're gonna be looking at a little bit later. But void pretty much means that the function or the method is not returning anything. So now that we have this interface, so let's have another class here. So let's say we have a class, and this class is make connection. I can't really think of a good class. Now what we can do is we can implement the HTTP connection. So we're going to say HTTP connection, and then now you can see that we're getting an error because now we need to have the create connection. And if I hover over it, you'll see that it says we're not implementing the interface correctly. So if I use the quick fix here, you're going to see that it's going to ask me to implement the create connection. So let's give an implementation here. So let's say this is going to be like console log and connection created to, and then we pass in the URL. That is just an example. And you will see that a lot of times when you're working with framework, for example, you will see that they have a lot of interfaces that some classes have to implement if they want to have certain functionalities. And you see that a lot in TypeScript. And of course, since this is a class, I can have other things on here. So I can have like private, and let's say headers, and let's say this is a string array or something like that. And I can have, let's say, private body, and let's say this is another string, and we can also have a constructor. So this can be like a normal class. So here we're gonna say we're gonna take headers, and that's gonna be a string array, and also a body, which is gonna be a string. And with this constructor, we can pass in those values. So this that headers set it equal to the headers, and then this that body equals the body. So we can have like a normal class, but the only thing is this class now will have to implement the create connection. So the fact that we implement this interface, we can always do everything else that we can usually do in any class. The only thing is now we're required to implement this function down there because we're implementing the HTTP connection, and the HTTP connection has this create connection that we have to implement. And of course, the signature of the method has to be the same. So for example, I can't change this and say number. If I do that, it's just gonna say, hey, this is not good. And if I change this name, then it's going to complain that I'm not, you see now at class level, it's complaining that I'm not implementing this method. So like I said, this is used heavily in type definition and also in a lot of frameworks. If you want to have certain functionalities in the class, then you can implement, certain interfaces. And then because as a result of that, then you're required to implement a function or have certain fields inside of the class. And this would be like a normal class. We can create an object out of this class and then call the create connection. We should see this printed on the console.